All right. Thank you everyone for joining me. I am super excited to introduce you to our guest tonight. I warned some of you inside of the Facebook group earlier today that this was not going to be your ordinary, everyday speaker and guest. Now, clearly there is nothing wrong with those. We have had some of the best people in our industry come in and talk to us and talk about cybersecurity, talk about IT. This is way outside of that box. And some of you may scratch your head a little bit and say, Jennifer has gone off the deep end. What in the world is she thinking? But hang with me for about 10 or 15 minutes and I double dog dare you to disconnect because you are going to want to stay plugged in for the whole next hour. So I want to introduce you to Dawn Rosemond. I got to hear Dawn about a year ago, and we've already got a couple people jumping in. Some people are already in the fan club saying Dawn. So some people already found you probably from some of the intro teaser information that I put out there. I heard Dawn speak at an event about a year ago. It was for service professionals, and I was near the back of the room, and COVID was all hot and bothered, and I had a mask on. So frustrating. They're hot. I don't like them, but they're for everyone's protection, right? So I was like, okay, I'm sitting there in a mask, and Dawn starts talking, and I tell you, within 5 minutes, I've got like tears rolling down my face, and I'm like, oh my word, I'm like, oh, this is bad. Like I'd be really ugly crying if I didn't have the mask on, but like from here up, I look great, right? So I'm literally dabbing at my eyes with the mask. Amazing, powerful speaker, life-changing. It's so interesting. I think we can all look back and look at these little pivotal moments of our lives or our careers. And meeting Dawn was one of those for me. I was originally going to bring her in to my Get It group and just let those members hear the message. And then it just didn't sit right with me because this is too important. And while hers is not a cybersecurity message, it is about rising to your greatness and becoming the best business owner you can, or the best marketing manager. I know we have a couple of marketing managers planning on tuning in, but most of you are going to be business owners that are listening tonight, about being the best business owner you can be. So Dawn is an attorney. She has a ton of accolades to her name, but the one that she loves the most is when she can impact audiences like you, business owners like you. So I'm super excited. Dawn was very, very gracious to agree to this at the last minute. So we've already got a handful of people piling in saying, sounds awesome. So Dawn, I'm going to hand the reins to you. I'm going to let you drive. Oh, wait, I'm going to take that back for 1 second.
Okay.
Guys, I want you to engage. So if she is saying something that resonates with you, drop that in the chat. I've got that on my other screen. But more importantly, if you have a question or if something she says, you're just like, I don't know how that applies to my world, my life. Can you explain it more? Please ask that. I will somehow wedge a question in, and Dawn will, she wants to make this as interactive as a Zoom meeting can be. So please cooperate with us and accommodate that. And I'm done now, Dawn. I'm going to pass it over to you for real this time.
Oh, no. Awesome. So Jennifer, thank you so much. First of all, I am honored to be here. To everybody I can't see, but I'm excited, but I know you're there. I'm so excited to be here. It's what I dream about. I know this sounds really weird. You're like, really? I say this a lot, but I get a chance to speak, and I know it may come off a little strange, but I really do dream about you. I really, really do. I don't know you yet, have the privilege of knowing you, but I live, breathe, exist to point people to their greatness. What does that mean? You know, I am fully convinced that we've arrived here on the planet hardwired with greatness. That I say it like this, that greatness is hardwired into our DNA. And I can sense it, and I know it's there, and it's my job. I've given it's my function to pull it out of you. That's what I'm after. So I don't care what you do. You know, what industry, what profession you're in, it doesn't matter. For me, it's all about people. And so I'm just so honored, Jennifer, to be here, and thank you for having me. So let's just jump right in. And like I said, like Jennifer said, ask me whatever. I'm here for you. So just curious because I love this show, and I just kind of want to start here because it'll help shape kind of where we're going a little bit. I love this show. I don't know if you've seen it, and I can see you, Jennifer. So I'm talking to you, I'm talking to everybody. But show Naked and Afraid. It's on Discovery Channel. Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
it's so funny. My kids, we were just channel surfing and they gave me the big education about what the show was all about. I had no, like, I read the title and
Yeah.
doesn't appeal to me, but yes. Okay. So yep, it's a real thing.
That show's crazy. It's crazy.
Yes.
And what's so crazy about it, and reason why it fascinates me, I mean, beyond just the salaciousness of it, I mean, it's been on for 13 seasons. I cannot believe that show exists as existed for 13 seasons. And if you haven't seen it, for those of you out there, the concept of it is pretty simple. The title does not lie. you get naked. You volunteer for this. You get naked, right. And then they drop you in some horrible place in the middle of the jungle with a camera around your neck and some sort of something like that you get to choose, whether it's a knife or whatever, and you have to survive for 21 days. And I'm weirdly fascinated by this show, kind of like watching a like when you can't turn away from a train wreck, because you're like, why would anybody do this to themselves? And I've joked with my husband, like, we're gonna do this show. He's like, and no, we're not. But I look at it, and they have this thing where they have to have a what they call a PSR rating. I think it's a personal survival rating. And they ask them all these questions. I've done a lot more research than it's appropriate probably for the show, but bear with me, hang in there with me, guys. So I've learned that they ask you a lot of questions to try and determine your original PSR rating before you go on to the show. And they'll ask you things like, if you encounter a boa constrictor, and they give you these choices. Do you do this? Do you do that? And always this in there is like, do you run? And my answers are always like, run. And everything, like if you encounter a scorpion, do you eat it? Do you do whatever? Do you run? I'm like, run. Yeah, my PSR is like 0, so I can't go on the show. But the show fascinates me because I was always like, what's the deal? Why are people going on this show? What are they after? They're not getting paid. They're not getting paid at all. Well, they're getting a nominal fee, I think enough to take care of the medical bills. But they're not doing anything else. I'm like, what is going on there? And I was like, I looked up this one of the contestants, and they said they were going on there to kind of try and discover themselves and to see what they're made of. And they want people to be proud of them and all these things. And I was like, you know what? I can accomplish all of that without being naked in the woods. But there's something that I love, and I love just being able to say this in these kinds of settings. Even though I know that that's a crazy show and Naked and Afraid and all those things like that, what I'm going to ask you today is I really want you to go there with me. I'm going to ask you, we're going to do it together, because I'm never going to ask you to do anything that I don't do or hold myself accountable to, that we're going to get naked. Which, I mean, I don't know if that's going to get you shut down at all.
Not like for real.
Yeah. But we're going to get naked, which what you should hear from me is to be the most effective leader you can, that we can, nakedness is required. Nakedness means vulnerability. All right. Vulnerability means that you are humbling yourself so that you can receive information and knowledge and training, and that you also can be empathetic and all these things. So we're going to need to get naked a little bit today, because I don't think that we can appropriately, I don't think in the little bit of time that we have, you can appropriately process kind of what I'm offering you today. So I don't want to, and I offer this out a lot too, I don't want to bury the lead. I've told you a little bit. I believe that you were created, that you walk around with greatness hardwired in your DNA. I say it like this: you were created to reign. So it's a word that you've probably heard, you've probably never heard applied to you. I believe that you were created to reign, REIGN, which means, for me, and what I want you to hold on to, it means to overcome, to dominate, to superabound, to win. It's the essence of win. It means to sway, to have influence, to wear a crown, that you are royalty. It is the most awesome word. And it's actually talking about you. I fundamentally believe that that's who you are, that that's who I am. That is actually, it's not a hype word, that is our rightful position. And it was funny because I talked to a bunch of students the other day, and they asked me, you know, one of the questions that came, they're like, well, so how do you get there? Where does your RAIN platform come from, Dawn? And it was, and I told him, I said, you know, I kind of reject that notion just a bit because it suggests that I was endeavoring in the beginning to create something for you, for people, to sell t-shirts, to put butts in seats. But in reality, RAIN was born out of an effort for me to heal. And you know, and I'll explain that here in just a bit. This whole part about being naked, I'm going to go first. So for me, I grew up, I'm in my 25th year, 26th year roughly of practicing law. And for most of it, unfortunately, I never really knew who I was. I was blessed to be really accomplished at a certain point. It was a long journey, but you know, as Jennifer mentioned, and I don't really, she's telling you the truth. I don't really care about much of those things, except for it gives me an audience with you. But I never really knew who I was. And so I spent the lion's share of my career trying to play host to someone else's version of me. So when you come into, I don't know about your profession and, you know, in IT and those sorts of things, but the way we come into the legal profession, you go to school for 7 years, 4 years of undergrad and 3 years of law school, you come out. And if you're like me and you work in big law, I don't know if it's like that. I don't know what you go through the years of training for IT, but when you come in, you come out and you work in big law, which is where I am, you are put into a system. And there's nothing wrong with the system. And this is not a knock against big law. It's simply, my reality, and it helps me hopefully shape for you what I'm trying to offer you. Because it really, I want you to understand that when I'm talking about myself, when I say I reign and I get all these things, I'm actually talking about you. So I came into this role and I was immediately put into the system, and then the messaging began. And it began in terms of like, this is what it looks like to be successful. This is what you have to do to win. This is what you have to do to be considered on track. And so that made sense to me, because that had been my career journey throughout, right? You go through school. If you want to go to law school, you got to get good grades. I don't know. I suspect they tell you the same thing, right? You know, if you want to be a lawyer, Dawn, you've got to be able to go to this law school, which means you got to do well on this test. You've got to get in this college, Dawn. You've got to have this score on the SAT. So you imagine what that creates, because you know what you're doing is you're saying, I'm successful if I meet these things, and I'm not if I don't. And so and then beyond that, you know, it just begins to really just shape who you are. It's not authentic, but it shapes who you are because you want to win. And so I spent most of my time trying to make sure that I met these standards, never once stopping to assess whether or not those aligned with my own, or say it differently, I never stopped to try and figure out what success looked like for me. I never asked myself if this made me happy. I never asked myself if this was ill-fitting. I just didn't want to be left out. And because I didn't know who I was, and this is the danger, why I'm so adamant and passionate about trying to get people to realize and to understand that they were created to reign, is because, again, I'm talking about positioning. I'm not trying to hype you up. I'm talking about where you belong. If you don't understand that you are royalty, and there's no way we can get through all of this in 30 minutes, but we can try to like just give you some nuggets of things. If you don't understand that you are walking greatness, if you don't believe that you win, that you are the essence of win, that you will have a less than mindset. When you have a less than mindset, you have a less than life. They track. You heard Jennifer kind of say it in the beginning, and I did, and I say it all the time. Your thoughts are your ceiling. And all of you, I believe, you have your own business, you have people potentially working for you, those sorts of things. Your thoughts are your ceiling. So if you have a less than mindset, your life will reflect as much. But here's the bigger problem. Not only are your thoughts your ceiling, your thoughts are the ceiling of those you manage. They're the ceiling of those within and under your influence, if you will. Quite frankly, set aside for a moment your profession. I mean, I'm a parent. If you have a less than mindset, your ceiling becomes that of your kids. So it's critical that you get this, because nothing will eclipse it. Nothing will ever fix it. There's no amount of money. There's no title. There's no position. There's no relationship that's ever going to allow you to circumvent or get around this reality that your thoughts are as high as you're going to go. So the goal for me is to elevate your thoughts. So let's go back. So I never knew who I was. And I spent, a lot of time when I first discovered this, this was birthed out of just a little backdrop for me. Again, the part about I'm going to go first and get naked. I'm going to ask you to do the same at the end. But, I was sitting, it's been roughly now 10 years ago, I believe, or maybe a little bit less than that. But I was sitting at the end of a church service, and I believe my pastor made this comment, and this is where this comes from for me. And he was like, hey, he was just in passing, the church was over. He was like, you'll never, you're the sum total of your thoughts of you today. You, as you exist right now, everything about you, you're the sum total of your thoughts up until this moment in your life. And I was like, okay. And I'd heard something like that before, but it hit me differently. And he's like, no, so, right now, everything about your life has been shaped up until now by how you think about you. And I was like, okay. And he's like, so it'd be good. And he said it a little bit differently, but he asked the question, he issued the call to action, if you will. It's like, so what do you think of you? And so I wrote that down in my phone. I'm really honest when I write. I'm honest now, but I'm really, really honest with myself when I write. And I wrote down, I was like, so, hey, Dawn, what do you think of you? And tears welled up in my eyes, because the answer to that question was not much. Now, mind you, so if I tell you 10 years ago, I'm a partner at that time. Okay, so I want you to understand, it wasn't because I was like, oh my gosh, because my career hasn't taken off, or because I'm married, I've got 2 children, they're healthy, I got things on my wall, I've got certificates, I've got stuff, I've got in the paper, I've got all these things. And my answer is not very much. And I'm like, what the heck is that? And I'm like, is that accurate? And then I remember sitting in that for a while, and I'm like, that's why I feel I don't think that much of me. That's why I show up like that. I don't think that much of me. I remember when I first became a partner, I'm the first black female partner, in my firm and in the state of Indiana that matriculated up from an associate level. So that sounds all great. It sounds great on paper. It reads really well. But the experience of it is quite different. It's quite lonely, and it's kind of heavy. And so I remember going to my first partner meeting and retreat, and just being kind of bombarded with the thoughts of just how much I didn't belong. I was starting to have a panic attack now, which is really, really weird, because I'm a litigator. I'm a trial lawyer. I go in front of people and talk all day. It's not good to have panic attacks. And I was starting to have a panic attack. I never had one. I'm like, what is wrong with you? And I was like, I don't belong here. I don't belong in this room. I can't compete with these people. The reality of it is, and that's the funny thing, and I wonder if, and I really want to ask you something again, I'm going first. To be naked means to be vulnerable, right? The naked and afraid part is true. I mean, that's a show, but this thing I'm asking you to do, my gosh, it's wrought with fear. But, and that's the cool part, is that when you get a hold of who you are, when you get a hold of this reality, this truth I'm trying to sell you in these few minutes that I have with you, that you are walking greatness. If you can begin to identify with that's who you are, regardless of the circumstances that are going on around you. The feelings of fear, if you will, they hang around, because it takes a long time, oftentimes, for your feelings to catch up with the reality, with the truth. I want you to understand, feelings track comfort, not truth. It doesn't mean I didn't belong in the room. I did belong in that room. I belonged in the partnership. They didn't give it to me. I earned it. It wasn't charity. I didn't need to compete with them. I'm it. And that's what I really want you to understand. You're like, how could you don't even know me, Dawn? You've never met me. You've never seen me. How could you sit here and say that I'm these big words that you keep spelling out? You know, that you reign, that you overcome, you dominate, you superabound, you ascend, you win. You're the essence of win. I know it's true. It has to be true because there's just you. I told the kids the other day, I'm like, you know, I was like, how possibly could it be anything else but true? Why would such a magnificent specimen as you exist if not to dominate, to overcome, to hold court relative to your sphere of influence? You're it. You're it. If you saw my bio at all, you say I had written on the top, you're an unrepeatable masterpiece. That's absolutely my favorite. Now you ask yourself that, right? Because that sounds like, it's like, oh, that's nice. I like that way that sounds, you know, and then this be like, this is really kind of touchy-feely. I don't know about all this. Anybody ever told you that lately? Who's told you that you're an unrepeatable masterpiece? Who's told you ever that you're royalty? That you actually, your rightful positioning is one who ascends, who dominates. When, you know, because what I got, I can't speak for you, but what I got, again, because I was so busy giving place or giving an opportunity for the external to speak to me, right? I would say, I'd walk into a room like that partner meeting. I'd walk into a room and I'd say, I don't know, I don't think I belong here. Let me put my worth and value on the table and see if they're going to tell me different. Tell me something. And then it depends on who I was talking to, right? If I got a good person talking to me, they're like, Dawn, I'm so glad you're here. But if I got another person that was kind of threatened by me or whatever, then I maybe got the opposite. My point in that, your worth and value should never actually ever be on the table. And so when you think about it, you're like, my gosh, I can look at my life. I turned 50 this year. I don't ever remember. I remember people telling me I was smart. My mom is wonderful, and she told me that I could be anything. But she suffered from the same thing. She didn't know who she was either. So I never had anyone telling me that, regardless of the fact that I didn't get the grades or the position or the girl or the guy or whatever it is I was trying for, they like, hey, that doesn't change who you are, Dawn. I remember I was just actually talking about and thinking about this today. One of the worst moments for me in practice, and I really want you to relate this to you, because as I think about who you are and what your opportunity is, and this is where I'm really going to want to get you to, is why this all matters, because I really need to get you so turned on to how magnificent you are, because you're going to change the world for you, but you're going to end up changing the world for someone else. That's the point. So I remember I was thinking about today, like one of my worst times. I was in I think it was like 2008 or 9. I was put on a performance improvement program, which is really hard for someone like me to take, right? You know, Jennifer shaking her head, because I'm a high achiever, right? And so I'm like, what's going on? It wasn't because of the work quality or anything like that. I just didn't have any work. I come back from maternity leave and my practice fell apart because I didn't have any work. And so I had to build my book back up, and I didn't know how to do it. And then so I just had to, you know, I just didn't have the numbers. I mean, I did really great work, but you can do great work. I mean, you guys, you know that. I mean, you can do great work, but if somebody's not hiring you, I mean, nobody cares, right? It's not putting money. It's not putting money in the pot. So I remember I sat in that room and I executed the document that said I was going to be on this program, and I was devastated, because at that time, what I told myself, or excuse me, what external forces, because remember I told you I used to have my worth and value on the table all the time, and so what was told to me was, Dawn, you're great because you're the first Black female equity partner in the state of Indiana and in this firm. Dawn, you're great because you are a partner at all and you're a lawyer. Dawn, you're great because you work at this firm. Dawn, you're great because this is how many zeros are behind your check. Dawn, you're great because look at that thing that's on your wall, or look at the accolades that you got. You have to be great, right? So, but the problem with that is that when someone threatened it, because that's what happened, because if I didn't meet those metrics, I was going to lose those things. So what happens when that was threatened? I fell apart. I didn't know who I was. So I thought they could take something from me, the essence of me. I didn't know who I was. And I remember writing to my friend, and I sent the form, and I was like, today I failed. And it was funny because they wrote back to me. Again, I'm going first for you. I'm getting naked first. It's funny if people catch sound bites of this, like, what were they talking about, right? Right? But I remember saying, I'm like, today I failed, and I just was crying. They wrote back, and it was funny because they just started going nuts. They're like, what are you talking about? You didn't fail. You're this, and you're amazing. You're all these things. And so it just in a side nugget, this one's free. It's really critical that you surround yourself with people who see your royalty, who insist upon it. That's honestly what I'm trying to do. I know, because I experienced it, that this thing that I say is hardwired into your DNA, it pulls at you. You know it does too. There's some things that you know you're supposed to be doing. There's some expansion you're supposed to undergo relative to your business. There's some people you're supposed to maybe hire. There's some industries or some different kind of like attendant areas you're supposed to branch out to. There's some things you're supposed to start. There's some things you're supposed to move away from. There's some hands you're supposed to be raising, saying there's some things you're supposed to be doing. You feel it. And then there's you know, if you're not careful, you know, for a moment, if you don't let your feelings get a vote, you know that that's where you're supposed to be, but then they come back, right? And they're like, who do you think you are? But your royalty is not going to go away. I always say this: your royalty calls you, him or her, it doesn't matter. It calls to you. It's hardwired into your DNA. It can't. It's your rightful positioning. So if you're playing low, if you step down just to make sure that the people around you are comfortable, just to make sure your feelings are comfortable, you can do it. I did it for years, but it's ill-fitting. It's not sustainable. There's a low grade kind of darkness associated with it. My friend used to tell me that he used to watch me, and he's like, I feel like you walk in rooms and the ceiling's too low and you just kind of put your head down all the time, just so you can fit in the room. Your royalty says, you know what, build another room. Or, you know, just take the ceiling off completely.
It's the roof, man.
Right. But we fight that because it's scary. That's the naked, and it's scary. It's scary. But this is why, and I want to make sure that I give you time. This is why this is so critical. I don't know. I mean, so for me, I have, you know, I have people on my team. Like I said, I'm a parent. I have people within my sphere of influence who count on me for different things. You know, I have people I impact in certain, so do you. You are, and I will never, if you ever hear me speak ever again, you will hear me say this over and over again. I will never stop saying this because I need you to understand why I'm so adamant about this. I want you to get turned on to you. You have to love you first, or you can't give anything out. Again, that ceiling, you can't eclipse it. But once you get that right, you get back in rightful positioning. I need you to get this because you're someone's possible. They are waiting on you to be where you're supposed to be. I don't know if Jennifer, you heard this, and I'll close for a little bit and let people ask me whatever questions. But I remember, I don't know if you heard this example, but I remember that I used to, I was going to lie to you guys. Like, I used to run, not really. I used to dabble in things that look like running. And I remember I was in I wanted to do a 5K. It was something like that. I don't know why, maybe because I just told myself, I thought I just could go out there and do it. And so anyway, we're in this race. And real runners look different. Real runners, when the water stations are there, you guys, real runners, if you got real runners, you guys don't even stop. You kind of get the water, you throw it, and your stride never breaks. Me, I kind of view water stations like restaurants because I just want to kind of come hang out for a little bit because I didn't want to be out there in the first place. So I remember being in this race. I think it was a 5K, and we get to the next. You know, they tell you, like, you know, next water station is so much, you know, a mile or whatever ahead or whatever. So I'm like, all right, I can get to that. So I get to the next water station. There's a table and there are people. And there's no water. So I'm like, so everybody else is like, okay, they're just bummed, but they keep running. Me, again, restaurant. I'm like, hey, where's the water? Do I need to wait on it? Or, I mean, what are we doing here? You know, it's a race, but I'm like, hey, what's going on? They're like, well, the person who was supposed to bring the water and run this station didn't show up. I'm like, well, how is that possible? You had one job. That's the only thing you're supposed to do. I mean, that's it. But think about that. So, I mean, I make light of that, but think about that. That's you. That's me. That person not showing up at their water station and doing that one thing that they were supposed to do literally can mess up somebody else's journey. So can you. So can I. I don't know how to, it's like, that's really heavy. It is. It's also really awesome to think that you have the ability to literally impact someone's life for the better. Think about it. There are people in your life right now. You can look at your life. I don't care if you know, if you're looking at your life right now, you're like, man, I'm not where I'm supposed to be or whatever. You still can look at your life right now. And if I gave you a few moments, you could sit down and you could identify in your mind, if it wasn't for that person, there's no way I'd be running my business. If it wasn't for that person, there's no way. If it wasn't for that teacher, there's no way I would have done that. If it wasn't for this person showing up for me, I would have quit then. That's what I'm talking about. So I need you to understand. And so you have to do the things. You have to do the things. What I mean by doing the things, you have to be willing to get vulnerable. You have to be willing to get honest with yourself. And how are we doing on time? We're getting ready to close, Jennifer?
No, we've still got minutes, about 20, 25 minutes, but I do have a handful of questions. So
I do, and I'm going to say this, and then I'm going to shut up so you can ask me those questions. Okay. The one thing I said, you know, I love Maya Angelou. I loved Maya Angelou. She's brilliant, and she made this comment during her last, I think it's her last recorded interview before her death. And she made this comment. She said, they said, well, what would you say to this generation? What do you say? What do you want to leave to this world? And she made this statement. She's like, tell the truth to yourself first. And I was like, golly, I love that. So when I'm asking you, when I start and I say, it's going to be required for you to be the leader, the business owner, the parent, team lead, the whatever it is that you were predestined, quite frankly, to be, tell the truth to yourself first. That's the only way that we're going to be able to raise that ceiling. Again, I know there's a lot in there. You're like, what's the work look like and all those things, and we can talk about that. But at the end of the day, what I need you to get from me is that you are walking greatness, and my goal, my mission in life is to try and get you to own it, to clear out all the stuff so you can own it, right? And then you can walk it out unapologetically every day for you and for the people assigned to you. It will literally change their life, your life and their life. There's absolutely nothing more powerful than someone completely turned on and fully aware of their royalty. It's absolutely, there's just nothing more powerful. Don't believe me? You're looking at her. I just don't know. I'm object lesson number one. So I'll pause there, and then you can. I'll take whatever questions and we can go from there. Is that good?
Yeah, that's great. I've only got a handful, but that may turn to a couple more. So Tim is saying, can you be naked and confident? Like, is that what we're trying to get to where we're vulnerable and yet we're still confident in our own skin?
Without question. Yeah, because vulnerability is required, is the hallmark of a good leader. So you have to, you know, so quite frankly, if you understand and are tracking with me that naked means vulnerability, then yes, without question. That's what I'm trying to, you know, the afraid part. I mean, obviously I use it as an object lesson using that show. You're going to feel it. I don't know any person that ever gets to a place where they arrive, they're like, I never feel afraid. I mean, it's just mastering that ability to be like, but I'm going to do this anyway, right? I mean, you've heard people say this, like, do it afraid. You know, when you fully understand who you are, I was terrified going into that partner meeting and almost didn't go. I almost stayed up in my room. I'm like, because I was like, I can't go down there. I can't, you know, but you've got to figure out how to show up anyway. And the more and more you get turned on to the reality that you were created for more, that you were created to ascend, that even if it doesn't work out, you really believe like there's something better for me here. And that I belong in the room that I've entered. It changes you. It changes you. I think I mean, I'll be honest with you. And I appreciate the question. I've been, like I said, I'm a litigator, so trial lawyer. I don't believe there's ever been any moment, and as I've grown, this has gotten, but there's never been any moment where when I've had to go to court and or any, be in any sort of tribunal where I've not felt some level of fear, period. But I've learned, and as I've learned more and more, and learned to love me more, and elevated my consciousness more, that it changes. It feels different. And it's not just me now, like, kicking and screaming, going into the room. Now it's like, I get to, and this is the cool part, when you really get turned on who you are, you get to teach them who you are. You get to show them who you are, right? You get to go in the room and help them understand. I mean, for, that you're amazing, that you not just belong in the room, that they are, that betting on you, that aligning with you, that working with you is going to be a game changer for them. I didn't know how to do that for years. So yeah, without question, I think that's a really good question, a good way to phrase it.
Okay. And then we did have someone who literally walked in as we were saying, it's time to get naked. And she just said, I literally walked in on that part. So I was like, perfect.
Let's do it. Yeah.
So are we talking fake it till you make it, or are we at a different level than that?
That's a good question too. I think that maybe where, the way I would say it is, you're not going to have many feelings. You're going to sit here and you're like, I heard that lady talk about this word rain. It's a little weird. I never heard it applied to me. I overcome, I dominate, I superabound, I win. I'm the essence of win. Okay. I believe her, but I don't feel anything like that. So I guess in some instance, yeah, you're going to have to decide. I'm trying to, so I used to say, I just fake it till you make it. I guess I say it this way. I mean, like, what I said before, I'm not waiting on my feelings to move. Right. So when I, you're gonna have to make some deliberate decisions about who you are, and then you're going to have to begin as you go along to do the work. So every day I tell myself, for instance, I tell myself I'm enough. I talk to myself all the time. This stuff I'm telling you guys, I sit down with this. Before I got on here, I don't know you. I mean, I got on here. I walk out and I'm like, okay, I got this. I can talk to them. I have something to say. I have to do it too. But your feelings will be a constant block if you wait on them to validate you moving. So you can't. So whether you hear it in your mind, I don't mind that. If you hear it in your mind and fake it till you make it, I'm just asking you to make a deliberate decision to understand that you're worth it, that you're walking royalty, that you're valuable, that you're precious, that you belong, in an elevated position, that you make that decision, even if you're sitting in a space where you're like, nobody sees it and I don't feel it, but I know who I am. And this is the prime example of that. Dr. King, obviously it's hard to find anybody who's not heard of him, whether you believe in his philosophies or anything or not. But Dr. King, his church was bombed. Obviously he ultimately was assassinated, but he was, many times crosses burned in his yard, so many bad things that he endured on his journey. But he wrote in his memoirs, there's some lost memoirs, and he wrote that the worst experience of his life. And I was like, how could this be the thing? And he described being on a bus going for a debate competition. And his teacher was on there, and they were riding. They had to be, they're supposed to be obviously in the back of the bus. And he got on, and they had done a great job. And they went to the debate, wherever they were, this other campus. They did a great job, got back. Everybody else, the order of the day, the black people went to the back of the bus. He did not. And he stood there, and he went and he was like, and he's like, and he wanted to sit down. His teacher, he said he could feel her, and I'm truncating this a little bit, but she was like, please, like, Martin, please just don't do this. Just come back. And he says, everything in him was like, I knew that I belonged there, because when he started talking about these memoirs about what his mother had taught him, and he said he ultimately, because it was starting to get a little tense, because they're like, what is he doing? Does he not know his place, right? And so he finally goes back to the back, but he said, I went to the back of the bus, but my mind stayed in the front, in my rightful positioning. That's where I belong. My mother taught me that that's where I belong. And I was like, that's Rain all day long, man. That's what he's talking about, that there's something on the inside of him that said, I don't belong less than. And you guys are trying to relegate me to that, but I do not adopt that. I don't believe it. I am not going to give into that. I understand this is the order of the day. That's not who I am. And so you can say the same thing. So whatever you need to call it, giving your feelings a vote, giving other people's voices a vote, you got to know this is who I am, and then begin to take steps every day to move toward your rightful positioning until it becomes so ingrained in you that it would be the equivalent of, Jennifer, if I sit here and I'm like, so Sue, how much time do we have left? And you're like, who are you talking to, Dawn? That's not my name. I'm like, well, Sue, I really love that you had me on your program. You're like, Dawn, my name is Jennifer. Hey, Sue, when can we do this again? And you're like, okay, my name is, you'd be adamant. You'd be like, this woman's crazy. She's calling me Sue. My name's Jennifer. But it's no different if I'm like, hey, loser. Hey, you're not going to make it. Hey, you're not smart enough. Hey, you're too short. Hey, you're too fat. You got to not answer that stuff, right? You got to be like, that's not talking about me. That's what I mean. So however you hear it, whatever works for you, that's great. But I'm asking you to make the decision to own who you are. Let your feelings catch up later.
Love it. I love it. Okay, cool. Thank you. Oh man, I've got hearts flying all over the screen. People loving what you're saying. I mean, that's the only challenge with this is that you can't see that. So
that's okay.
People going, you know, truth, and this was great. I'm so glad I popped in. Obviously we've got the people who are saying, yep, the naked is what they heard. So hopefully because I am going to upload this to YouTube later. Hopefully they won't boot me off of YouTube. I think we'll be all right. Okay, I don't see any more questions coming in. You want to take another 5 minutes and maybe wrap this up. And then I know you've got a special offer, which I don't think I've ever allowed anyone to make an offer before inside of my Facebook group, but I feel so passionately about your message. And I think everybody who has joined us and who will be watching this over the next few days can tell. Yeah, Tim was saying, thank you for the motivation. People are saying super, just that we just love what you're saying. So I appreciate you taking your time in your evening and sharing with us. So yeah, quite a bit of thanks are pouring in. So can you you can either jump right to the offer that you have, or you can wrap this up in a neat and tidy bow and then make your offer, whichever way you want. I'm going to completely give you the stage.
Well, I appreciate that, and I want to tell you guys thank you so much for having me. I mean, look, I am not. I don't have anything else to offer you other than this. The good news is this is really all you need. It literally changes everything. And I want you to understand that. I don't know, again, I don't know everyone here. I don't know all the things that you're contending with, and I'm not making light of any of them. But I do know this, that your mindset shift will absolutely, literally change all of it. And so I want you to fight for it. I want you to fight for it. And what's it? I want you to fight for your rightful positioning. I want you to fight for your rightful positioning. You are worth it, and you deserve it. And the people around you need you to be in rightful positioning. So in the coming days, I want you to take a moment and look back. I mean, ask yourself the same question. I'll kind of end where I began, if you will, on this front. You know, ask yourself the same question. What do you think of you? And then answer that honestly. Get naked. Answer that honestly. And then don't stay there. If the answer is, I think I'm the most amazing person ever. Awesome. Then your next question is what am I doing? What can I do? Where can I shift to come up higher for the people that I lead, the people within my sphere of influence? If your answer is in any way, shape, or form, my gosh, Vaughn, I don't think very much of me either. Then the good news is you've just got some revelation knowledge. And the funny thing is, I don't even really need you to believe me per se. I want you to, certainly. I'm peddling hope around here, but at the end of the day, try me. Try this out. Try seeing yourself on higher ground. I promise you, you won't regret it. And so I encourage you to fight for it. That's the biggest thing. And to that end, and I thank you, Jennifer, for the opportunity in that regard. I mean, I gave Jennifer all of the things that, where you can find me and follow me. And I mean, I'm trying to just create things and products so that I can help, because I know that this is just not enough. You can't unpack all of this and do the work. Rain is a journey. And it takes time and a deep dive, and everybody's circumstance is different, and we're starting from different places. And so I'm trying to be sensitive to that and create things that meet you where you are. And so one of the things I have coming up that's really, really exciting on October 15th and 16th is my first rain table, which I'm so excited about. It's the most amazing thing because it's going to be a 2-day mastermind. So we're not going to have to go fast and do things and have 30 minutes and all this stuff like that, which I so love when I have the opportunity to do that, but I get the chance to spend time with you. And we really we're going to have some pre-work, and it's going to be in person here in Fort Wayne, Indiana, at our signature new 5-star hotel, the Bradley. We're just, I mean, my gosh, I guess we'll have so many things planned for the folks who have a seat at the rain table to be able to really do the work, and I roll up my sleeves with them to do the work to not just become aware of your royalty, to get rid of the impediments, the barriers to you being able to own it, and then being able to walk out elevated in a different way, so you can go to even newer heights. It's going to be absolutely amazing. And so I really would love to meet you there at the rain table. You can find out about it and sign up at www.raintable.com. I also have a text community. Like I said, I've given Jennifer all the things, so you'll be able to sign up for that. I've got a subscription community called Rain Elite. You'll be able to get all kinds of things and new, podcasts, signature podcast episodes, rain gear, all sorts of things. But I really want you, if you're me, and you're like, man, Dawn, I've been going around this tree for a long time, and I've been living less than for a long time, then I really strongly encourage you to get a seat at the rain table. If there's a challenge at all with regard to the fee or payment or what have you, just reach out to me. We have ways to address that, but I'm not trying to get anything at all from you at all. I'm just trying to get everything to you. I want to be able to sit down with you and really begin to unpack you in a way that's honorable and affirming, so that we can collectively go to a whole nother level. Everybody wins at that point. So www.raintable.com, sign up. Any questions, reach out to me, and I will gladly answer them, and I welcome you. And Jennifer, I just want to tell you thank you. I don't know what I did to warrant this level of kindness from you to open me up, open your network up to me, but I am grateful. And I'm grateful to everybody I can't see, but I know you're there, and I appreciate you more than you know. And I hope that you rock with me and follow me and all those sorts of things, because I'd love to stay connected.
Excellent. And I'll be dropping that information inside of the group. I put the URL in the comments as well. So quite a few comments, people saying you spoke to them on several points, lots of thank yous coming in. So I just want to tell you from the bottom of my heart, thank you for spending part of your evening with us. You've got to be one of the most authentic, genuine, enthusiastic people that I've ever had the pleasure and privilege of meeting. So thank you so much for being here. I'm going to wrap us up. I know you've got a family and an evening and a full-time job, a more than full-time job. So thank you again for your time. I so much appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Bye, everybody.
Take care.
All right.